podcasting is something that you hear that like, oh, this person started a podcast and like people roll their eyes, or people like, oh, like another podcast, like, you know, or it's just another like 30-year-old guy starting a podcast or things like that, especially like, you know, in the last like 5 years or so. But just a couple of things that I've found with podcasting is, one, it's helped me develop my own ideas on topics and like coming up with original thought. So it in a lot of ways, like, it doesn't really matter to me how many views and things a podcast gets, because I'm getting better at the thing I'm talking about.
Yeah. I mean, people really downplay like talking to yourself, and again, by extension, you like doing a podcast where you're kind of working through a lot of these ideas and things like that. Because like even in talking to another person, maybe I don't get information directly from that other person, but I am able to access more kind of like reasoning about what I'm doing, because I'm actually cognitively, having to formulate the idea with the intention of showing it and presenting it to somebody else. And so that a lot of times that kind of forms the idea, or kind of, sharpens the idea a little bit more. So yeah, like going into a podcast space and being able to, like, we in the other podcast, but then also in like the thing that JR does, like when I was like talking, we were talking something about like comedy and like how comedy kind of reaches people. And I think that like I ended up like kind of tripping on something that I didn't really I had not really consciously thought about a lot, but because I was in the space and people were asking the right questions and I was able to kind of formulate those thoughts, then it kind of flowers in that space. So
yeah.
But also, people are gonna hate. Like, you gotta.
People also hate. This is true.
People are gonna hate, but also it's so funny. Okay, so this is, I don't know if you're like really on. Have you seen the trend of the Ashton something like that? But he's like that morning routine. I got
out of it.
Man.
I'm out of it. Maybe you don't have to.
It's a good. I think it's a really good kind of. It's a really good example of exactly what you're talking about when it comes to like people like, oh, here's another one of these, because it's like he's a person. He went super viral starting last week because he has some kind of incredibly elaborate morning routine. You know what I mean? Like, he wakes up, he has like the tape over his mouth, like when he wakes up, like I don't like that's supposed to help with something. But he tears the tape off. He dunks his head in this like bottle of water and all. It's kind of bizarre to like the average person, but he just recorded this morning routine, and it's so funny because it went so viral. It has like 600 million views, like the last time that I checked.
Right.
And I think about it because so many of the views are people that like really genuinely don't. Not even, I don't want to say genuinely. They're like they're making fun of it, right, or they're talking about it, like they're talking
as
negatively
they're pushing it further.
And as I'm like, you guys don't understand. Like whatever you're doing, that's part of it. Like you should expect that there's going to be a demographic of people that are not going to like, what the fact that you're talking about things. That's really with any art, any field. But there's going to be a demographic that are like users, and so they're going to be able to use what you're doing and things like that. There's going to be a demographic that are customers, and so maybe you're going to be able to transition like those people that are like, oh, I'm just taking in your content to like whatever you're selling at the end of that pipeline, if there is another thing or a product or a service or anything like that. And I think focusing in on that potential, because of the fact that you have that kind of visibility, is more important than being held up by, oh man, here's another guy with his thing. Because 600, it's way over that now.
Yeah, for sure.
I checked, but 600 million is like nuts, and most of it's just like hate watching.
Yeah. So I think that should be another episode we can do for Arts and Offers, is just talking about how people like handling negativity, and there's the actual advantages that come with the negativity, because there are advantages that come with it. The other thing I'll say is that for podcasts help you reach people that otherwise would have been difficult to reach because a lot of people listen to podcasts while they're out on a run or while they're washing dishes or while they're driving. Situations where it's maybe not as easy to watch a video. Podcasting allows you to still get into their head, literally, because they can listen to you. So there are some advantages just in terms of reach. You're going to be able to get at people in a way that other forms won't quite work for specific moments. I'll also say from a discovery point of view, it can be helpful because, again, just if you're reaching those people, then there's a chance that you could get discovered by more people that, again, if you're just making videos and someone instead is mostly on a podcast platform, well, how are you ever going to reach them? But if you have a video version and a podcast version, well, now you're potentially maybe not doubling, but you are adding on to the amount of people that you can actually get in touch with. Which connects with the final thing I will say is that I think podcasting pairs very well with blogs and texts and videos. If you make a video, you cut the audio and you have a podcast. That's what I do with my teaching channel, and that's what we do with a lot of our videos here on Diverses. You can take a podcast, run the audio through AI, and it can come up with a transcript for you. You can use that transcript to turn into blogs or social media posts. So there's a lot of versatility that can come with a podcast, especially if you're approaching, however it is that you're reaching people through different modes. Podcast, I think, is a pretty good compliment.
Yeah, and it's also, I don't know, there's something really endearing, I think, about podcasts that is, because you're listening in on a conversation, you're also like listening in on like somebody that is like working through something. Mm-hmm. Whereas like, a lot of other presentations of like audio is like, and like these aren't necessarily negative, but like, like music or something of that nature where, like people are like really engaged with that art as a medium, which like those are good. But yeah, having a podcast, and especially because again, more than likely, nothing that you're kind of bring up is going to be this completely fresh and new idea that's never been thought of before. But the funnel is different, right? Because it's you talking about it. It's you bringing these topics up. And it's you reaching this demographic with your very specific like tools and techniques. So yeah, like having that as an extension of your platform, I think, it can really just get your audience into your mind a little bit more.